All right, it's arrow building day, and I've been building arrows all day. I've been building my arrows and arrows for my brother because Friday we're going to Mountain Archery Fest in Mammoth Valley Park in Kentucky. So if you're going to that one, keep a lookout for me. I think we'll be shooting the Western course. It's what all the guys wanted to shoot, so we'll be down there. But arrow building day. So these are gold tip kinetic chaos. These are 204 diameter shafts, 350 spines, and that's what I've been building for me. And I've been building some Black Eagle deep impacts for my brother. I wanted to try these out because when I tested them out in the test, they done pretty good, and I like the collar and the insert system on them and everything. So this is what they'll end up looking like whenever they get done. I got the tack driver 2.75s on these. Some tack wrap, did all white. I like them. That gold and white off accents, white nocks, looks pimping. So, gonna kind of go over through on how I build these and get these arrows built, done, tuned, because I have not tuned my bow yet. Get ready for Mountain Archery Fest. So, let's get to building these arrows. Okay, so normally what I'll do with these arrows is I'll cut off from both ends. Cut like 2 inches off from the back end, and then I'll cut my remaining inches off this. I didn't do these with these, mainly because when I got these, they were squared off, and these knock inserts were already, knock bushings were already glued in. So we just cut it off all from one side. It is what it is. We'll put them on a spinner. But once I cut them, the next thing I'll do, after clearing off everything on this, is if I cut off the knock end first, then I'll square that knock end up. Then I'll turn it around, cut off from the other end, and I get my arrow square. And I go ahead and just make sure everything is square. A lot of people don't do this. It's a small thing that's overlooked, and it's so simple. You don't got to be aggressive with it. And after putting a couple of these arrows together, what I do is after I square that off, these bushings are tight. So to be able to get them on there even better, after I go through and square this off, I'll turn it on its edge, and I'll just run this over sideways and kind of bevel the edge to kind of match up that knock set. Just lets the outsert collar slide over it a little bit better and kind of cleans everything up. All right, Gucci. Now we get into the glue in. Okay, now on the glue up. So what I'll do is I got my points and I got my inserts, outserts, whatever. Got my general arrow. I will go through and I'll weigh every single one of my arrows. And I have a chart. I'll do a chart of something about like this. And I'll weigh whatever arrows I have, number 1 through 5, 6, whatever. And then I'll weigh my inserts and number them the same and line them up in a line. And I'll go through and I'll weigh every one of them and start matching my highs and my lows. And if you go through that, if you're really trying to build a tack driving setup, that's something that you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to go and be as meticulous as you can to try to get, I want everything within a half a grain. But with that being said, if you do a dozen arrows and you do this whole system, within those whole dozen arrows, you're gonna get them within a grain to a grain and a half of each other, with a lot of them being a half a grain. So just gonna leave that in there, that's what I do. And I almost messed up because I was gonna fletch that without putting my wraps on. So we're using tack wraps, nothing fancy. And I will get just a regular old pad. Some people get the mouse keypad stuff. I don't do that. Line it up straight. I'm gonna push evenly. And voila, Gucci. Now, when I glue these up, I'm gonna glue my outsert and stuff in before I fletch it up. And this is Gorilla Glue 2-part epoxy. Most arrows will take a 2-part epoxy, whatever 2-part epoxy you got. This sets up in 5 minutes, it's clear, but I think it cures after 24 hours, I believe it does. And the only arrow that I've known that does not work good with 2-part epoxy and that recommends their glue is Victory. Has something to do with their nanocarbon kind of coating that they have on it. Whatever, it don't stick too good, don't work too good. So you got to use, they recommend using their glue. Ain't a big deal. But I'll take this 2-part epoxy. Just mix me a little dab. Yes, this stuff gives you somewhat of a work time, I've noticed, but not a lot. You gotta kind of be quick with this stuff. And I'm actually just gonna take my outsert and mix it up with it. I'm not putting any weights in the back of it or anything, so I'm not that worried about getting something in the inside of it. As it goes in and it's dripping, then I'll take it, I'll do a light coating on the outsert to put the collar in. And then I'll slide my collar over, spinning my collar, clean off your excess. Don't use your pants, these pants are already ruined. When I go into fletch, I've been fletching different types of arrows and stuff, but I need to set this Bitzenberger up. And a main thing with your arrows whenever you're setting up, if you're wanting to get the most forgiving setup, if you're wanting to get the best shooting setup you have, get your arrow. One thing I didn't show is I'll put a dot on the top of my arrow. I'll go right up to the target, draw the bow back, and shoot it. And whichever way your arrow rotates, that's the way you need to fletch your fletchings to go with that rotation. You don't want to fletch against the natural rotation, clocking of your arrow, because if you do that, the arrow's got a knuckleball in the air and stop, and then it's got to turn, stop, correct itself back over to go with the fletching. So just go with the natural rotation, and I think it'll work out better. I use a Bitzenberger. Already got it set to 3 fletch. Sometimes a 3 fletch, sometimes a 4 fletch. It just kind of varies on whatever I'm using it for. And this is a 2.75 tack vane. And one thing that I started doing was make you some mock fletched arrows up, because you don't want face contact on your vane, because that's going to cause inconsistency in your tuning and in your shot. So I moved my vane up to make sure I wasn't getting face contact on my vane. And I got this set to a 2 or 3 degree offset. I don't want to go too much more than that. I don't personally like a lot of helical, because it takes away from velocity, I feel like. And it, because the more you put helical on something, the faster it does rotate and the faster it recovers. But at some point you're going to get a parachute effect. So I don't put a lot of helical or offset on them. There we go. Let that set for about 10, 20 seconds. Start on the next one. All right, been about 10, 20 seconds. And there we go. Nice, clean fletching job, clean wrap, looks pimping. These arrows were at like 429, 4.5, 428 grains, so almost 430 grains, which will kill everything in North America. And if somebody tells you you got to have a 600 grain arrow to kill something, they're nuts. The only thing that you need a 600 grain arrow to kill something is in Africa, and last time I checked, I live in North America, not Africa. So I'll let this set up here, and I'll let this one dry, cure up, do its things, and we'll do the other ones. Finally get to tune the bow. All right, so I am going to change out this paper. All right, so I got the general whole batch of arrows. And what I started doing like I used to shoot one arrow and tune with it. Well, that could have been a bad arrow. So what I do now is I'll take then whatever 6 or 12, whatever I'm shooting, just a general gist of them, and I'll shoot every single one of them to see if I get a similar tear. And then if they are getting a similar tear, then I will tune the rest of the bow, shim the cams, do whatever I gotta do to treat that. If not, then I'll start knock tuning them and turning them until they start getting similar tears, and then I'll do that. So whatever tuning you do it 5 yards. So we're gonna start up here, and I'm just gonna shoot them in a line together and see what the general tear is. That was a left tear. That was left. They all look like they're tearing left. All right, so every single one of them was tearing a left tear. Ain't too bad of a left tear, and I can move the set technology. But what I actually think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of the spacers and swap them around on the cams on this, top and bottom, and then that should get me good and I shouldn't have to touch the set. I wanna use a set for fine tuning and not reef on set technology for that big of a tear. So we're gonna move the cams. All right. Yeah, we got that in there pretty good. Put this clip in there. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. 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 Check my cables. Good. Cable good. String good. Cable in the guide. And cable in the guide. String good. String good. Let's see what it does now. Well, I thought I held that one off of it good enough. Luckily, the only thing that it costed me was a knock, and I can get new knocks for them. But we had little right, both look kind of bullet holey. That looked like a bullet hole. Little right. So I'm gonna shoot them all again, get another knock on that one, shoot them all again, and see what we got. All right, so those are all well enough into a bullet hole that I'm okay with that. So there you go, guys. Here's arrows. That's what I do. We got them good. So now I can get a sight tape set and we can go out and shoot Mountain Archery Fest. If you're going out there at Mammoth Valley Park, I hope to see you there. Come in, say hey. See you guys.